Hi, my name is RB Thomas, and my guest today is Ron Austin with the Carlos G. Figueroa Foundation. Thank you for joining me today, Ron.
Thank you, Arby.
So, Ron, tell me about the foundation. What does it do?
Well, the foundation, I'm co-founder with Deanna V. Figueroa, and we are video and photo advocates for those in poverty and homelessness in Tucson proper. Okay,
Okay.
so we have a couple of videographers, photographers, script writer, a music director, and sundry other people that assist in other ways. We have got bloggers, you know what I'm saying, on our blog site, and our purpose is to bring about a positive change in the condition of youth homelessness in Tucson.
So you deal with the homeless.
Correct.
Okay. How long have you been doing this?
Well, actually, I've been dealing with the homeless for like 16, 17 years, and that I work for the Primavera Foundation. But I think the Carlos G. Figueroa Foundation has only been in existence for about 6, 7, maybe 8 years.
Oh, okay. So it's a new organization or foundation.
Right.
Okay. So you deal with the homeless, and you've dealt with homeless teenagers, homeless youth.
Correct.
Okay. In your dealings with the homeless youth, what reasons did they tell you why they were homeless?
Well, actually, many of them blame themselves for their predicament, primarily because they claim that they drank too much, or they drugged too much, or they didn't listen to their parents. But in reality, that's erroneous, okay? Because if they drank too much, or if they drugged too much, or they didn't listen to their parents, then it's an adult's fault. Okay, I mean, there are counseling services out there, family counseling services, and with a lot of kids, you have to persevere. You can't just give up on kids, okay? You just can't put them out into the street, okay?
So the youth, they were put out in the street, or did they chose to run away?
Okay, some were put out in the street by an adult. Some ran away from conditions which were not conducive to a healthy life, such as abuse and neglect and such like that.
The abuse, was it physical or was it mental?
Oh, there's mental abuse, there's physical abuse. You know what I'm saying? You know, some kids, their parents were alcoholics or drug addicts. You know what I'm saying? You know, and others were physically abused them in ways that I won't mention at the present, and so they many of them tried to leave an unhealthy, unwholesome situation.
Okay. When you're dealing with the youth, I mean, have you found that it's more boys or girls that are out there on the street?
Well, in actuality, I see more males, but there are many, many other females out there, because you know, when you're a youth and you're homeless, there are people who are predators who will predate on youths for their own various purposes, and it's bad enough being a boy being homeless, but being a female and a youth being homeless is a very bad situation. So what happens is that many of the homeless females, they are, how should I say this? They are hidden, okay? They hide from public awareness, okay? They're not as public as the boys are.
Okay, so they hide in what way? They like stay indoors most of the time, or?
Well, okay, when I say hide, I'm saying is that they tend to not avail themselves of the various agencies that are available for homeless youth. They keep to themselves, and that's what I meant.
Okay, so they do this so they do not become preyed upon?
Correct, right, because you know, homeless youth tend not to trust adults. Okay, they tend not to trust adults because so many of them have been abused and used in ways that It's unfathomable.
Okay. Oh, that's really sad. Have the homeless youth that you've encountered, have any of them had any drug problems, alcohol problems?
I'm sure that many of them have. You know, it's interesting that our society tends to think that most all homeless people are alcoholics and drug addicts, but mainstream people, when we have extreme problems, and homelessness is a very extreme problem. When we have extreme problems and we don't have anybody to talk to, at the time we tend to go to the drink, okay? All right? Just like anybody else, okay? And so the youth, you know what I'm saying, who are not having any guidance, okay, but themselves or each other, they're obviously going to get into drugs. They're going to get into alcohol. It's so prevalent. It's so easy to do.
Well, me myself, I know that on a bad day, I appreciate a good cold beer.
You're correct.
Okay, so but then again, I am over 21, so
Right.
let's see. Skip that. What age range have you seen for the homeless youth?
The age range that I have seen is from, say, 19 to 23, okay? And I want to get the younger youths on video also, but they are difficult to find, okay, on the street, because for the same reasons that homeless females are difficult to get in touch with, okay? Generally, I think, this is my opinion, I think that the younger a homeless child is, the easier they are to be preyed upon, okay? And I think they have learned those lessons and have become very seclusive.
These youth, do you think that they tend to stay with friends, or do they just find someplace on the street to stay?
Well, many homeless youth band together for safety and for companionship. I mean, if you look at one of my videos, Homeless Youth Project, in the tunnels, okay? We went into the tunnels, myself and Kathleen Dreyer, my photographer. We went into the tunnels in Tucson, and there were 5 youths there, okay, that had formed a ad hoc family, okay, for their own survival.
Now, when you say tunnels, do you mean like caves, or are you talking about drainage systems? What?
Drainage tunnels under the city.
Okay, in Tucson.
Right.
Okay, it's interesting. So you visited this one location. Had you visited any other
Tunnels?
tunnels?
No, I hadn't. Well, actually, I visited several tunnels in that area, okay, rather than lumping it up into one. Just a couple of tunnels in that area where I knew that, or where it was reported to me that homeless youth were living, or at some point in time existed in those conditions.
So you had the opportunity to interview these youth that you found?
Correct. Yes. Right. I actually on my YouTube site, which is Homeless Champion, one word, you can see the Homeless Youth Project in the tunnels. It's a video slideshow. Okay. And I really didn't do a video because there were certain things that would have been portrayed in the video that I didn't particularly want to be made public.
Okay.
Right. But there's a video slideshow on the YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Cool. Do you feel that any of the homeless youth that you've encountered want to go home?
Some of them have professed that desire, but but in professing that desire, they also profess that they wish things would change if they went home. Okay, there's those who say they miss it. Okay, and there are those who clam up, but you can feel from what they're not saying that they want to go home. Okay, yes.
Do you think that going home might be possible if there was some mediation done?
I'm absolutely sure that if we provided services not only to the youth, counseling services to the youth and the families, okay, we can get a large percentage of the homeless youth back within their families, and which is what they need. I mean, because the problem here is that we've got so many homeless youth on the street. I can't give you any particular numbers because nobody really knows for sure, but we have so many homeless youth on the street that when they become adults, they're going to be a drain on society. Okay?
Now, when you say number of homeless youth, I mean, I know you can't give me an exact number, but would you say more than 100?
I would, I could pretty well give you a number like 1,500 and say that's under the numbers.
Okay. So 1,500 plus is a good estimate.
Yes, it's in round terms. Yes.
In round terms,
yes.
yeah. We are generalizing.
Yeah, right.
Because as you said, there's no way to tell exactly, how many there are. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, if the youth were to return home, that does not negate the reason they left.
Correct. Correct.
And the counseling that the family receives, it would not be a 1 hour thing.
No, it have to be long term.
Right. So it might take 6 months or a year.
Correct. I mean, depending on whatever conditions existed in the home. Yes.
Okay. And of course, counselors aren't free.
Yes.
Unfortunately. So that could be several thousand, if not tens of thousands of dollars, to get the family reunified.
Right. But it's something, that's the only way I can see it can possibly work. I mean, yes, you can counsel youths by themselves, but youth needs that link to family. Okay, I mean that's what we all have. If any of us have any family, we try to maintain that link, which therefore gives us link to our culture. Okay, and if we can get some of them back together with their family, we'd be doing some good. Okay, because as I said, these youths, when they become adults, or even at the present time, they're becoming a drain on our health system, on our law enforcement system, on our whole system. And when they become adults, who knows what directions they'll go? Most of them is going to hate us. Okay, so it's going to be really difficult. And if the youth is the future of our nation, we need to take care of our youth. They say that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, this village needs to get out there